Yeah. Ready is definitely subjective.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so welcome to the Lucidus podcast. This is Shelley, and you'll notice we're in a very special place today. I am interviewing Curtis Forbush, and this is sort of his gift, his talent is sound baths. It's how I came to know him. And so I thought it would be great if we were here at Dancing Cranes. So he does sound baths at different places, but the second weekend of every month, he's at Dancing Cranes, which is where we are right now. And you'll notice it's hard to see, but I'll show you at the end. I'll pick up the camera so you can see, but he has tons of bowls and very unique bowls and all kinds of chimes and other paraphernalia and drums and rain sticks. And so this is not your average 3-bowl or 7-bowl sound bath. Very, very. And not only, it's not, the other thing I want to say about Curtis is it's not just he has all these cool instruments, so to speak. The man knows how to create vibrations that literally alter me. So this is Curtis Forbush, and he has agreed to do the 3 questions. So thank you, Curtis.
Yeah, I don't know what I got myself into, but I'll find out.
He has no idea. And that's what I was at the beginning when I said, "Are you ready?" He's like, "Ready is subjective." And I would say, absolutely. So thank you for coming on.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have any questions before we start? Anything you want to share about yourself or?
No, not really.
Okay. You'll have plenty of opportunity. Okay. So the first question, pretty simple. Is there something in life you learned later than you wish you would have? Something you learned later than you wish you would have?
Actually, probably as far as occupation and the pursuit of money.
Yeah.
I made a lot of money for many years, but wasn't until I stopped doing what I was doing and actually stepped back this direction a bit and was like, why was I doing that? I was miserable. And I see it in a lot of people. They're doing financially very well, but their spirit and soul are hurting. Mm. And I didn't realize how much mine was until I stopped doing what I was doing. And it was crazy how much work I was doing. I had someone a couple weeks ago I was talking to, and he hasn't been to the sound baths in a while, and he told me how busy he's been, and he says, my wife hates me, my workers hate me, and he says, and I hate what I'm doing. And he's got a good soul and a good person, and he's like, I just, but he's doing it because he gets paid very, very well. And we sat and talked for a while, and I think when he was done, he realized it's not worth it. I said, you need to go talk to your wife first off. Take care of that issue. And then just rethink about it. Think what you're doing. Is it worth? I mean, look how you feel. Look at the conversation we just had. This isn't going to change as long as you continue to do what you're doing. So I just wish I wish I'd been doing this early on for all those years. So I make a tenth of what I used to, but I'm happy, and I love doing what I do. So
I would definitely say I've been on that journey. The time when I was making the most in my life, I was the most miserable, which I don't think that is necessarily true. Like, right, you can make a lot of money and be happy.
Yeah.
The way you go about it definitely matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just going about it the wrong way. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Same. The other, I would ask, an interesting question that I ask myself is, do we get to choose? Do you feel like you've been led to do this? Like, did it choose you as opposed to you choosing it?
I think both. I early on just read everything I could about spirituality based on the religion I was born in and raised in, and the boxes that I felt like I was in, and so that led me to all kinds of shamanic work and different things, and then I started doing some of that work, just and very quiet about it. And most people didn't know that's what I did. And then I bought one bowl for myself. It had nothing to do with anybody else. It was for my own healing. And it's turned into this. So,
I think you were telling me just before we started recording that you had like 50, 60 people in this room, 70, I don't know.
we've had 80 before.
80 people in this room.
Yeah, and then they actually opened the doors and moved the clothing racks back and put people out in the store. And I thought, boy, if the fire marshal comes, we're in trouble. It's a big no-no.
No.
But it was a donation-based thing at that point. And so you'd have a lot of people that showed up and didn't donate, and a lot of people were donating very little. But it was that point that's like, okay, I think we need to start charging and limiting the crowd.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Well, and I played for over almost 300 people. And it was funny because you think in your mind you wanted something. And it's like, oh, let's fill this place up. Let's pack it. And we did. And I remember sitting there playing, looking at all those people and thought, this is not what I want to do. It was no fun at all. It became a performance instead of a healing.
Well, and so I'll touch on some, we just finished a sound bath. For those of you watching, I just finished taking one of Curtis's sound baths. And it was a kind of a smaller group, which I think talks to what you were just saying, in that you came out and were giving with one of the bowls and were giving some special attention to a certain person that needed it. And so you have that capacity to find the person, in need in the way they need,
Yeah.
which is really powerful and beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd much rather play for 15 to 25 people than, you get those big groups and you're just trying to hold space and move energy out, and you really can't do a whole lot of stuff. And it's exhausting to play for that many people too when you're trying to hold space. So I used to finish with those big crowds, and I'd go home and sleep for 10 hours, 12 hours.
Wow.
So,
I believe it. Okay. Anything else you want to say about the first question?
no.
Okay. So the second question, semi-related, is what do you feel like you're learning right now in life? Sort of the lesson or lessons that are most prominent right now for you?
I think it's about being very selective of the people that you let into your life, or very close into your life. I think so many people, and I did for so long, I was just surrounded by people. And when I had all my employees and on and on, but I think at this point in my life, I'd much rather just have a few good quality people, good souls, good spirits, and not a bunch of people. I mean, I spend a lot of my time alone, which I love. And some people think that's crazy. And I'm like, no. And I see you around 40 people, and it doesn't feel good. I'm not a big crowd person anymore. There's just a lot of energy there, and there's a lot of stuff I don't need. So I just prefer the small groups. I prefer a very small group of friends. So little by little, what happens is they tend to peel themselves off. You don't have to, you know, you just be you and be genuine, and the people that aren't supposed to be around you find their way out.
So if I were going to distill that down, you're learning that quality over quantity when it comes to people in your life.
Oh yeah.
Did you used to be kind of a big crowd person? Were you
Um, well, I did a lot of Grateful Dead shows.
It's a
Big crowds.
Big crowd.
Big crowd, 3 or 4 days in a row.
A lot of energy there.
Yeah. And yeah, I used to be around, there were a lot of people, and I mean, I know a lot of people. I can go to a place that I take my dog regularly, and I know a lot of people, but there's only a few that I would spend any amount of time really hanging out with. I think I'm very selective at this point, and I just think, and I think maybe in the years previous, you need to be around people so you can find those select people. You need a big group because then you can find those people that are supposed to be part of your life.
Right. I think when I think back on the days when I had a more robust social life. I think part of that was each person offering me a reflection of myself, and so I could learn who I was.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I said, I've read multiple things, and I talk about it in the classes when I teach them. But it's like when you're looking at someone and you're complaining about that person, or even acknowledging that person for something, there's usually a mirror there. You're usually seeing something in yourself. So especially when you're critical of somebody, pay attention, because it usually comes back, and there's something there that you're critical of yourself. You just might not be acknowledging it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I have found that to be true.
I just think that's a universal truth. I just think that works with everybody.
And it can whip back pretty quick sometimes. Oh,
maybe that's why I don't want to spend time around a lot of people. I don't want to see those things.
Oh, show me.
Yeah, no, I'll figure it out on my own.
Yeah, gentle lessons, please.
Yes, grace and ease.
Okay, anything else? Any other lessons that you feel like you're learning right now?
Just patience with people.
Oh, yeah.
I think we don't realize what everybody's going through. Everyone's got a mask, and a lot of things are hidden, and we don't know the trials people are going through or have been through. We don't know what the past is. A lot of times the past is why they are the way now. And I think you just have to just be patient with rude behavior, with people that are ugly and mean. There's usually a reason. It's usually a hurt soul. And so you don't have to tolerate it, but be patient and understanding.
Well, so I have another question. This isn't one of the three.
Oh, sure. We go from 3 to 4. Okay.
And only because it's something that I feel like I have really worked on for 15 years, and I feel like I'm doing great, but it's a message that's coming up again. I feel like it will never go away, and that's forgiveness. Is there anything you want to say about forgiveness?
I think that's probably one of the toughest lessons. I still deal with it. I still think I've figured it out and forgiven people, and then something happens, and I can see myself getting upset at that person. And some of these people are 30 years out of my life, and I'm still upset. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why? How come I haven't learned that? And I think those lessons just come around and around and around. And I think what happens is you realize it, and you acknowledge it, you realize it, and then you get past it quicker. I do now. I mean, I'm like, I get mad, and I'm like, okay, what's that about? And then it's just letting it go and working on that issue. And I think that's part of being patient with people. That's a form of forgiveness. When someone's rude and ugly, and it's like, just okay. So I just try to practice that. When I was driving for a living, my patience became terrible. I was so mad at bad drivers, and it didn't do anything to them. It was just killing me, all the stress, and it was like, so it was a big lesson for me.
Is the big heat gonna turn on?
No, I think that's next door.
Next door. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, forgiveness, patience, forgiveness.
Yeah. I think, yeah. Forgiveness is a hard one. Yeah.
Sometimes I think I'm good at it. I'm like, I'm doing really good. I've forgiven that person, and look at me, and I'm like, and then something will happen, and I'll be so hurt or angry again, whatever, and I'll just think, oh, okay, apparently not.
Yeah, it's those layers of things, and stuff is, No, I go through it too. Sometimes I'm just going on. I still haven't forgiven that person.
Mm-hmm. Or recent.
Or forgiven myself. Yeah, I think, like I said, it's that mirror thing. It's like, wait a minute, turn this inside. Maybe I haven't forgiven myself for what happened.
Right. Or for me recently, again, it's like looking back and why did I make that decision? Why was that the best decision? I can look back and say that was the best decision I could make at that time. But I'm still like, really? That was the best.
There was no other option.
Really, you couldn't have done any better than that. So yeah, forgiving myself is just harder than I ever thought.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Okay, you ready for the third question?
It'll be the fourth, but that's okay.
Okay, you can stop.
No, we're fine.
I forgot
We call it squirrel. We just squirreled off.
Scrolled up. I forgot you can count. I was hoping you wouldn't catch that.
Okay. I used to be good at math. I can count to 10 still.
Okay, so the last one is, so let's say many, many years from now, you're lying there peacefully and you're about to pass onward and you know it, and you're going to have your final thought. You're going to have your final thought. This is the final thought of this life. What would you like your final thought to be before you pass?
Okay. My final thought is I'm hoping I see all my dogs on the other side.
Oh, really? I love it.
All the unconditional love.
Oh.
I mean, animals say, and if anyone's very psychic and an empath, that animals are just our healing source. I couldn't deal without them. And I know some of them that have passed are still helping me. Sometimes they're helping my other dog, but for me, it's the unconditional love I had in this life. I'm hoping that's what I get to see in whatever that next mystery is. But
I love that. That's totally unique. Never would have guessed that.
no.
Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. Now there's one, you don't have to even answer this one. It's not really a question, it's just a thought. But if you were in my seat and you were going to ask people questions, like just a life question, is there a question that you would ask people?
Where does their motivation come from?
Ooh, that's a good one. Do you know where yours comes from?
It used to. I used to look at outside sources, but I realized it's not the way to do it, because those things go away. It has to come from inside for me. It has to be. It's my motivation is me wanting to be better, me wanting to connect to people, me wanting to help.
So do you feel like it's something that arises within you or something that calls you to it? Or is it both?
It's both. I see the homeless, and I have to. Part of that comes from my own experience too. So but where does your motivation come from? Because sometimes it's coming from the wrong place, and it's pushing you the wrong direction. And you probably had a better choice.
But
you were motivated. But if you're motivated by greed, you're motivated by money. You might be on the wrong path. If you're motivated by, it's like for many years, I would do a sound bath at a little location. It was in the basement, it was dark, and I would slip out a side door and go upstairs and sit. And nobody really knew who I was. I didn't want people to know me. It wasn't about me. And people would come upstairs and ask me if I've ever been to one of those sound baths. I'm like, yeah, I've been there. They're great, aren't they?
That's so cute. They didn't realize you had just been the one doing it.
So for me, my motivation for sound bath, I know some people that I played with somebody that he had been in rock bands and he just wanted to be a star. He wanted to be a musician and a star and have people follow him. I didn't even want people to know who I was because it's not about me. It's about what they're doing.
It's interesting. So it sounds like your motivation comes from a place that's more service oriented, sharing what you have to help others. I have noticed, because in a different way, I've asked myself something similar, and I've noticed that sadly, my motivation a lot of times is fear. Like I'm afraid of such and such, may or may not even be real or happening, but that pushes me in weird, fear pushes me in weird ways. So it's not a healthy motivation, obviously,
You know,
but it's a frustrating one for me to try to navigate.
but it can be a life-saving if you know this fear. It just depends on the situation. No, so I think everything's that way. It's just what's the situation, but fear as a motivator can save your life in the right. I mean, I've been in situations that all of a sudden I getting into fear and looking around and realizing, okay, this is not a good situation. It's time to move. And that motivation to move came from fear. So sometimes it's okay.
Yeah. Knowing the difference.
Mhm. Yeah, well, that's that's a whole long podcast.
It's a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. Check in like 5 weekly. Uh,
Anything you'd like to share? Anything to say or share? Anything at all?
um, just take care of yourself first. Be true to yourself and who you are, because you really can't help others or be real present in the world if you're not taking care of yourself and being who you are and true to yourself. So
Excellent advice.
now it's just time to try to live it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's always the hard part.
Okay, so I don't know this. We can, first of all, if you'd like to play for just a minute or two, I'd be happy to record it. Sometimes these recordings, they don't like live sound,
Yeah.
so it might not pick it up. But would you like to try? Would you like to feel like it or no?
Well, I know how they don't like live sound. In fact, I keep thinking about doing live streams for this, but it would cost me a lot to get the right equipment
That will do.
that will do it, because it's hard to record these. I do have one good recording that I'll have to share with you. I found it on my computer the other day.
You shared it with
Oh,
me
did I?
before, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes when I can't see if I turn it on.
Okay, I was going to say, I only sent it to a few people, and I found it the other day as I was cleaning my computer up, and I'm like, oh, there it is.
Okay.
But I'm going to have him do some recording. I'm going to talk to that person and see about getting the right equipment, and because I'd like to live stream these for people. I have people all over the world on that one Facebook page, and they all ask about me live streaming them. So
Well, let's see if we can figure it out.
yeah, well, it'll happen at some point. But yeah, I think it almost would be a disservice. They'd be going, really? That's what I...
They'd be like, right. I think so.
I've tried so many things to record them, and I'm like, okay. Well, and then the guy that came in and did it, he records at clubs and festivals and concerts, so he's got all of the
You
equipment.
just have to do it.
Yeah, he's got the good stuff, and that's what it takes. So you'll have to come to a sound bath or wait for a live stream.
Come to us. Okay, so tell us your Facebook page is
The Mystics Playground.
Mystics Playground on Facebook, and you can find all of his different. He's got lots of. He's at Dancing Cranes and Vitalize Studio. We're also doing something on New Year's Day, 2025.
Yeah.
Why not? So you can find all of his information there. And if you get a chance to meet Curtis in person, you will understand why I invited him and why we've had many years friendship. So, an amazing person. Thank you.
Well, glad you came to the sound bath and asked to do something. Yeah, well, it's been fun.
It's been good.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to pick up my phone though and just kind of show, just let people see a little bit. I really wanted to see how big that bowl is. I've never seen it so big.
Yeah, it's a challenge to move sometimes,
It's good.
but it does amazing things.
So thank you.
Thank you.
You're my friend. Okay, we'll do this. See if I can. Without making people too sick. So here's all of his beautiful friends that help make the magic. There's some